Right, let's just hop straight into it. Oh, I should just open the chat, shouldn't I, and see what's going on. So, sorry. Right. So it's streaming to Twitch, seems to be all working there. And Periscope. So let's go to the chat and see if it's on solo. No messages. How sad. Oh no, wait, on Periscope. Oh, I can't see the username. It must be Daniel. How's it going? Right, okay, so building Automaily. My daughter's crying on the baby monitor. Ah, typical. I may have to have a short break at the beginning of the stream. So here you go, Automaily. Let's sign in, see if it's probably sign in. Then we're gonna have a look at workflows. Oh, I can't. Why does this keep happening? Let's check I actually got data in the database. I did this quite recently. I absolutely wiped out the whole database. So during tests, which is what I've done. So let me just fix that. Luckily, I got a recent backup, so we can load that in. We can test out. Ignore foreign keys. Let's, oh my goodness, that did not work very well at all. File, import. Let's try again. If not, I might just have to do a reset. Oh no, it did work this time. Oh, no idea. Okay, so let's see if we can log in now. It is, you're correct. How's it going? Any more sign-ups in the last few days? Okay, so if I look at workflows, it's going to be empty, a base table not found. Okay, so that's fine. So we can go into here, we can do PHP artisan, oh goodness sake, learn to spell, smooth rebuild. I'm too lazy to write it all out. So if we were to refresh now, we're going to have that base table and we're going to have our two workflows, so we can go back to them. Now, in the interlude, I should have probably, between yesterday and today, I should have designed how this is going to look. But I'm going to have to take a break because my daughter is up. Right, I'm back. Oh, my chat's in the wrong bloody place again. Don't know if you're still here, Dan. 2 more paying customers. Awesome. Seems like you're onto a real winner there. If you're still here. You're just bucketed off. Just going to reorganise some windows and stuff because it's pretty manic here. So I want this one. Then we'll just check Twitter as well. Right, so I should really sketch down some designs for this so I would know what to build. But I didn't, so I'm just going to end up doing it on the stream. Trusty notepad. Okay, so we've got a workflow. We've got it's got the name there. You could have some stats followed by the chart, I reckon. So we'll have a small box bottom top left, box on the bottom on the right to show the there's some stats that we'll add later, and then at the bottom we'll have the whole workflow chart now. Workflow chart.org. I'm going to do it like this, but the workflow is going to be a real pig. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get a basic solution together without actually doing any real coding, real front-end coding at least. And then maybe I'll pay someone to come in and fix it. So let's have a look. Twitch. Just going to quit some chat apps. Okay, so that's fine. I wonder if I can just include this quickly. Depends on. Let's have a look how they've done it on here. Where they're playing this in, just be if we can be. Oh no, they're just. Let's see if we can just hot link these for now. Maybe hot link these for now. Maybe. Oh no, maybe not. We can't. I can't bother to do that. Right. Okay. So let's do this styling here. Yep. Twitter. Right. So that box. Come to Twitch. Want a better okay, so let's do PHP Storm open. Yep, and we'll go to presentation mode before I forget. Presentation mode, which is annoying because this is a whole bunch of I wish there was kind of like a halfway house between for this. So I wonder if we got the view open. Show. Okay, so we'll make this like a 6. And I might open this in a separate window as well, just so I can not have to keep constantly refreshing. Okay. And then we'll just display a simple table. We'll reorder this as well. We'll just display a simple table for this data. So let's get rid of the head. That'll be the answer. What am I doing? Yeah, T here. I hate tables. Oh, there we go. never get them. So let's see with that design there. Is that gonna? It's not gonna be ideal, but we'll go that way for now. So this will be status, and I'll go display status here. Then we'll do the same for the workflow name. The stats we don't care, and the edit button we don't care about. So that's the that's the trigger even. Should probably be renamed, if we can rename that easily. Workflow trigger. Hopefully that's corrected and everywhere it was called. That's what I don't like about it. There's no tabbing. I can't tab back to my previous file when I'm in presentation mode. It's really annoying. So we'll refresh this and have a look. That's fine. That's all I wanted. Don't really want the border at the top, so table borderless. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, on the right hand side, I'll make another card. There's also that's the minimizing. So rubbish. Right, let's go back to let's exit presentation mode, and I'll just whack the font size up. Which is preferences. Hey Josh. Editor, is it editor font? Or is it, oh no, current style. Something like 18 gonna be okay, apply. Is that big enough for you guys? Can you read the font in the background or the text editor, or is it too small? It's gonna have to be you, Josh. You're the only one online. You're gonna have to answer. Is that big enough or not? No answer. I shall check the stream myself. Have a look on Twitch. No, it's still a bit small. Let's go to 20. Apply and just call it a day at that. Okay, so now I've done that, I can actually do some. I can minimize this, and I can mute my own stream. Okay, so we can now copy this and have both. This one will just have some basic stats. Oh, I wish I could collapse it all now. Executions, and that'll just be 0 for now. Static. Emails sent. Or maybe it'll be like open rate 0%, static, and then whatever this one is. So each workflow will have probably a success, because you'll assign a goal to each one, so you'll be able to see. Okay, now why don't we add a card here to say, so we've got the workflow name, is it span.badge? Badge warning, and then we can display draft. But I might even have that already. Workflow. Nope. Workflow display status, was it? Yeah, that's fine. So display status. Okay, draft, and then we can be really lazy and add an extra column just to do this. So bootstrap. Status bootstrap, why not? So let's add that to the projection. And then we'll add that to the projector for this as well, just to say it's a warning. And then we can easily reproject the table for that. We've then put that into, there you go. This should now be dynamic. Yes, that's brilliant. So when you set something live, we can just change the bootstrap color to success. And we haven't had to do any if statements in our view file or anything. So, I mean, it's not the worst case putting an if statement in here, but it's just an example of event sourcing and reprojecting your events into reprojecting your data, your read data, to be in the best format for the front end. So you're not having to do queries. You can do the expensive queries on the right end. Yeah. I might paste my stream around a bit so we get some more. Okay, so that's now the tables have table. We just set the whole table to a warning color. Yeah, that's fine. We'll set it to warning, and just to remind me never to push this into production, because those numbers aren't real, and it'll just look awful. And again, it's change the order. So when we go to here and refresh, we have a horrible thing here. Okay. So I can now add a whole table for the actual workflow. Now, I'm looking at just using this library because it seems very easy to configure. So we will see whether we can get a CDN for this library and the other one, so I don't have to pull it in. So, CDN. Yep, that's fine. Is this the CDN network I want? JS deliver. I think I preferred this one, yeah. I don't know why do I prefer this one. Add to collection. Remove that one, and then can I search for another one, which is going to be the flow chart. Is it this library? How do you tell? So let's have a look on GitHub. Realize there's two. What's flowchart 2? Don't load. GitHub doesn't load. Okay, so it ain't that one. Okay. Sadly, this package doesn't contain that. Oh. Good. All right. Chart.js CDN. Yep, that's the one. We'll just use this one. And then, so let's just add that to the section scripts and section and then we did find it, didn't we? CDN. CDN. Okay, and then how do you use the library? That's the okay. So you put the diagram and your code definition, draw. You can also try to draw by passing options. Okay, I don't really care about the localization at the moment. Oh, sure, with some jQuery we can really hack this. We can add colors. So, okay, we're going to add a diagram to the form. So let's just clone this. Make this a 12. Delete this one. Delete the table. Display the diagram. Go back to here, and let's just paste in this with the code definition in. We'll copy this code definition. Am I just gonna be able to paste that in here? Okay. Let's have a look. If it loaded first time, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? See if anyone else joins us. Cool, so the chat. Okay, so the chat didn't load, did it? Why didn't it load? I don't know what that means. Can't be that they're in the wrong order, that would just be. Cannot read property X if undefined. Don't know what's banging on about, to be honest. Let's just remove this and see if that library throws in. Read property X if undefined. I have no idea. Never even heard of this library before. Paste nothing in there, see if it. Cracking. So it's all to do with this Chart not loading. Oh, parse the code definition. Okay. Let's have a look at that maybe. Huzzah! We got this chart to load. Okay. Not really much to go on, is there, styling wise and stuff, so okay. Don't really know what defines the width of this. The library in this thing is not the most descriptive. Fill, yes, no, yes, no. Arrow. Okay. I will extract this out into its own function, but so if we just call it start, what are these definitions here? So ST is some sort of short name for it. Start is the, oh, it's just saying it's called ST and it's the start. It's a start type. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll just call it start. So it makes sense, most sense, and then we can have it's a link. Just have curious what sort of if there's an easy way to change this. So we need to say that we go from the start as well. So start. Okay. We can worry about this link here later and see if we can manipulate that to do something else, like a on-click behavior. So we've got the start and we've got the end, which is kind of just like complete or finished. Which has broken. Well, that broke it. So we cancel that one and go to end. Wonder why that broke the flow. It's not the best library in the world, is it? Next of undefined, okay. Look at the original definition and go from there. Semicolon finish. It was called E. If I add that back, is it just going to work? That'd really irritate me. Nope, really broken this chart, I don't know why. Start. Let's see why actually. I removed that link. It's adding an E on the end. What defines it as a new? To actually need that. But is it going to need that to actually tell it's a new line on the config? Yes, okay, so end, we don't need the link, we can just say this is the finish. Which obviously broke it. Okay, that worked. So we know the start, and we can start. So we can just say we can just put the whole workflow thing in here, can't we? Let's just whack that in and see. That's just going to break. Do I need to find a different library? So, okay, custom create, that's fine. And then it's just going to go directly to the finish because there's no operations. Start. End. So does that suss the library? Yes, okay. Start, finish, and then we will rename to just say end because I hate having just shorthand for. Okay, so we know that the start then goes to the finish. So we could have a little plus button in there above the finish, so we could add. So we could say, I'm going to open this on another tab just so I don't have to keep flicking around. So we can add an operation. So we're going to have, we're going to call it before end, just as a way. We'll rename that in a minute. That's an operation, and the operation is just going to be a plus. Oh, and then we need a new line. I should probably write this in a text file and then embed it in, but maybe that'd be easier. Oh, okay. So that's fine. We need to go. We need to go to start, before end, end. God, that's like the worst way to build a flow chart, isn't it? Okay, so there's a little plus there. And then we can make that a link. Add. Okay, how did they do it? They did a whole Google link, but I don't really want I want to just be able to trigger something. I wonder if these get IDs. Inspect. Oh my god. No. Class workflow ID before end. So could I just say before end click? That's all right. You have to forgive me, I haven't written JavaScript in ages. That's it, dot click, function. Is it that? Okay, let's see what happens when I click that. ID before end. Okay, it's going to have to be something like, was it an ID actually? Yeah. Okay, body on, I just have to look this up, I can't remember. jQuery on click body or something, on body click. Okay, so on body click function or before end. It's definitely called before end. Is it? Oh, twat. There we go, we've got an on-click event. Hooray! It's not the text. It's the, I don't know why it's, let's have a look. Is the T-span not current as well? Can we do... You're watching someone who's has not coded in a long time with front end. It's like text. Oh, before NT. Okay, let's have a look at that. That's just. Can you register to? That's gonna work. I mean, I need to. Okay. Then I need to. Oh, I know what it is before end. Okay. So that's good. I can open a modal at this point and just say what. We can, sorry, I just need to check an email. Open share settings. Let's move that out of the way. Someone wants to read the document I've written, so we should be able to open a modal with the options. Sorry, I cannot talk and do this at the same time. Rubbish. I just need to message someone. I granted access, there we go. Okay, so I wonder about Bootstrap modals these days. Oh, what's this theme called? Let's have a look what the theme documentation says about it. Obviously it's a theme, Morris. Do I have Morris wrap bootstrap? Let's have a look. Nope. Nope. I swear it's got that, Morris. No, that's plugin. Oi, silly billing. Style. Ah, it's right there. Components, no, UI kit, modals, let's have a look. Full width modal, oh god. Standard modal, small. Okay. So we can have a modal and then we can display 4 buttons with what we need to add. Yeah, I could use a view library, Tom. I do try and write JavaScript. This is fucking awful. I don't even know. Don't even know what I'm doing, Tom. So let's go for the large modal. Let's have a look at that. So got the button to trigger the modal, large modal, target trigger opens the large modal. Let's have a look. So let's just copy it. I hate front end code, Tom. Absolutely hate it. So much passion. Okay. Yeah, I would stick to PHP, but who's gonna come and write my bloody front end for me? That's what you want to see. Well, tough. There's a little aspect of having to build all this crap out. Let's just add a button here and see. Hooray, large modal. Right, so I just need the large modal to display when I tick this box. What's the bootstrap way? Bootstrap open modal. Okay, so let's just go with the B. How do you open the modal with jQuery? I'm just so far out of my depth with this. So dot modal show. Let's see if this works. Then I might go to the back end for a bit. Huzzah! I'm a fucking JavaScript expert, obviously. Alright, okay, so that's enough of a proof of concept for me. Obviously, I'd love that to be a different styling. To add some colour to it, something just to make it stand out a little bit better. What can we do? What's the easiest way to add some colour to that? So that's flow states. So let's have a look at so we can add flow states. So let's add a flow state. Oh, Tom sent me some code to look at. Oh, a UI kit. Well, I'm kind of already using a Bootstrap template, so I kind of just already sort of made my bed. Okay, so the draw diagram. The draw diagram takes a second parameter where you can add in flow states. So we can change it to whatever. We'll just call it add. And then how do you define the flow state? You would say start, or so the operation, which is the plus, and then actually this library is going to drive me nuts. Oh, okay, that's a little bit improved. I wonder if you can change the. I wonder if you can make it round or something. Fill. It's a rectangle, isn't it? We can try and make the corners rounded, but round top, round left. Okay, let's have a look. It's a stab in the dark. Nope. What defines that one as? Oh, okay, is that? Just this one didn't. Maybe it's not able to overwrite it. 0, 0, and then oh, it's in there twice. Don't know. I'll come back to that later. Oh yeah, I'm getting links to view stuff. Bootstrap is the best. Yeah, I wish I was better at front end, but then at the same time. You're on the right tracks. Ambition, make enough money to pay someone to come in and say, this is shite, let me rebuild it. Okay, so we can click plus, we'll get a simple modal on. Every single trigger and stuff will have a little plus symbol above. We'll try and get this little arrow here to be shorter, so that plus is right above. We'll make this a round. Click this, 4 options like add a gate, add a gate condition, add a goal, add an action. So action could be, let's say, email a brand or whatever. We know that because that's above that one, we know what the ID of this one is, so we know where we're putting the next trigger. So there's a lot to do to get this to work. Started using the built-in class tags more in Bootstrap to save time on custom CSS. I don't really know what you mean. Let's have a look at this. So, trying to think where the most logical place to go next is. I could style out that modal. I wonder if I got icon jar. Let's see if there's gates and stuff in here. Skip this version. Gate. That's way too graphic. Yeah, okay, no. I have to look elsewhere for that. Okay, so oh god, I think I just need to continue with this large modal, which we can rename to something like action creator or something. Oh, I see. Yeah. I get what you mean, Dan. Let's just show this on page load, and then we'll go through and do some edits. I'll open this on a second screen as well. Well, I need an ultra wide screen, that would make life easier. Okay, so we're going to have header is just going to be action creator. And then in here, we're going to have, let's think, gates, actions, goals. What else do we need? Should we call it gates or conditions? Maybe conditions would make more sense. Conditions, let's just call it that. Or branch. I think I pretty much the two are the same. So goals. So it's going to be 3 things. So div.row. and see what this looks like. We can have a little paragraph saying choose form sounds a bit rude. Make a workflow decision. I was miles off of that. Skip workflow steps when reached. Okay. So if the goal of your workflow is to have customers' charges successful, you can add that as a goal. If you're in the midst of a workflow, it will skip all steps and get right to the bottom, or right to where that goal is, and then it will continue from that process. You could literally just go to the end after a goal, or you could go into like a thank you email. The conditions can be stuff like attempt a card payment, if it was, and then based on the result, perform different conditions. That's a rubbish example, but hey. So if we now look here, do we have something that looks kind of nice-ish? Okay. So I might just add some. I'll just add a button. I look like garbage. I'll do. This mode will probably need to be its own view file in a minute. Conditions, goals. I feel like goals should be green. Conditions should be yellow, maybe? Maybe this will work. Primary. And then we'll colour them as well. There we go. And then we'll apply the same styling to these as well. There's got to be a way of adding. So in here they've got documentation where they said start, the font color is red on the start. Symbol start. Fill. Let's just add that in and see what happens. Style symbols. So just see if I can get anywhere with this thing looking a little bit better. Oh, okay. So we can say do we just say the operation? Oh god, it's really messed that up. Flow state add op. Okay. If we can change the I guess we could just define it as a start. Yeah, that'll do. So it's looking like we're adding a plus above. And then we'll go into styling. Okay. I have to see if we can change the lengths of the stroke red, stroke red. We can add wide, but maybe we can add a stroke width. I wonder if there's a definition of the stroke length, like that. Let's have a look again. So that path there, stroke width. I don't really know much about drawing and canvases and stuff. At least we could export it as a SVG at the end, which means we could email it or whatever. Okay, that's fine for now. Let's code in gates into the domain then. I'll go and have a quick break, and then we'll add in gates. So go and get a cup of tea. Let's have the hiding screen. I'll just edit this and say, so I thought it was quite cool that you could live edit this. So hiding screen content, no, that's the wrong one. Sketch. I'll try again. Having break, there we go. So we'll change it to be right back, and we'll put the time in, because otherwise it makes no point having a be right back, is there? So we'll say 21:10, then coding. Then event sourcing, and then we'll export that. Having break, replace it, OBS. Right, I'll catch you guys in 10 minutes or so. Oh, hey Robin, how you doing? You've joined at just like the optimal moment, right? I'm about to start doing some event source and stuff again. I'm just going to take, should probably done this on my break, but I'm just going to take a minute to try and gauge the domain I'm trying to build before I just start trying to explain it as building. So I'm building gates, or conditions we're going to call them. So a condition is just going to be based off a config. We'll have a whole set of different conditions. This breaks something else in my domain. So it's going to have a step before, a success, and failure. So the condition should just be a boolean. That's going to dictate what the next step is. Okay, so they shall both go to the end, but then when we define one here, we need to give it an address. So we were calling it previous step, but maybe a condition will have two step IDs. So have a previous step, and then it will have success and failure step IDs. Okay, so you can then register a next step or condition to the previous, to the condition ID, condition step ID, which will determine whether it's the success or the failure. Okay, so we'll have start, condition, two outcomes, 0 and 1, and then they will both automatically go to the end state unless you come in and add something and say, well, at step condition blah blah step 1. There you go. Okay, I think I got it in my head. Yeah, it's the last one tonight. I was wondering about streaming at lunchtimes during the week, because that's probably about the only time I'm going to have the house effectively to myself. I don't want to stream while my partner's watching telly next door. That feels weird. So, yeah. I was thinking about lunchtime streaming, but then that's a bit tight, and I probably should just be having a break from work. Yeah. So we'll just commit this stuff really badly, but workflows. Alex, did you see the workflows that have got created so far using that library I sent in Slack the other day? It's so crude, but you basically add a button. It then shows you the actions you can create. No, don't get burnt out. Yeah, and then you can choose, and then that will basically replace that button with that step, and then continue. So a lot more. So we're gonna go to the domain and we're gonna add in conditions. So we'll go with the same theme of register workflow conditions test. So domain test, and it has the same as everything else. It has return. I really need to concentrate for this. I should have done this at the beginning when I'm less tired. Workflow class, okay, and then the repository. Return workflow repository. Okay, so we're going to try and let's have a look at the actions one. We could just copy this and start from there, because it's very similar. You've registered the trigger, and now you've decided you want to add a condition first. Yeah, I think the workflow it's going to work well enough to get a prototype that I reckon people could use and I could use. So then I could pay someone to do the front end. Register workflow condition. Okay, and then the handle is the same. This is what's going to be different. I guess there's going to be a condition ID, so we can have a list of different conditions with almost like closure functions for how they actually get resolved. Always booleans, and then the metadata. Is it going to give you metadata? I guess. Like, so you got an action to say like, did the customer's payment succeed? Do you need the metadata? I shall add it because I can't think of a use case, but I think it might happen. So we'll have a condition. So let's do a classic one. So a condition is going to be like charge succeeded. It's also going to be very similar to adding goals. They're going to basically be conditions that have happened. Maybe that's another way of thinking about. Is there any metadata for that? Maybe not for now. Okay, so like before, we have just a config file with for the workflow. So we'll create in here conditions, and then this forms the basis of a lot of validation. I'm perfectly happy having it hard coded in config. Let's give it a name. Let's give it names this time. So what did we call this one? We called charge succeeded. Well, let's make it really obvious. Has charge succeeded? So we'll call it that. We'll give it a. That's really messed up there. Okay, so like the workflow actions, we've got a type. I guess we don't need a type, and we can have a description and a name for now. I can't spell. Fucking hell. This is why I use PHP Storm. Has the customer's charge suck? Let's go with cleared, and then name. Okay. I don't know why I call it that. I'll just copy this one because I'm being slow. Right, okay. So that's fine. Has customer charge succeeded? And then the metadata rules could be. We could have something like. Actually, I don't want to code them in now. We'll come back to that later. It could be something like the charge ID, so you could specify that it's the previous charge or it's the or something like that. I don't know. Okay, so we need to create this value object now. Previous step is null because we haven't registered anything, so we're going to go from the start straight into a condition workflow. But we need two IDs, so we need step ID success and then step ID failure. So, because I want each step to have unique IDs, so it's easier just to map them around, and you could map basically from one workflow to another. Perhaps the unique IDs, and also you can shuffle and change them without having to worry about auto increments, which would look weird. But in this process, you have to define what the steps are. So we'll now create this. you have to create a command, which is a simple data transfer object in effect. So, and because I've fixed my ID, I can now open it sideways. So, okay, so string workflow ID. It's a nullable string for the previous step, then a string for success step ID, I prefer that, and then failure. Trying to work out if by streaming I'm getting more work done. Condition type. That's also a string, and then array for metadata. Oh, I've done that before. I don't need this one anymore. Let's fix that first, just a bit easier to. Right, so initialize the fields, add the getters, deal with PHP Storm's bullshit with optional parameters. And then the fact that that broke. Do you think it adds a level of accountability or pressure? I think so. I think maybe I'd drift off onto Reddit or something where now, one, I don't want you to see what I'm looking at on Reddit. But yeah, I think it's definitely getting me to focus and not just sit and watch YouTube for like 20 minutes at a time. I've definitely written more code this week than I would have done otherwise. Even though it turned out not to be that much, just like an hour and a half each day, I think. So I'll probably stop at about 22 because I need to hang the washing up before I go to bed. Okay, so that's all the register workflows. Question is, have you enjoyed watching the stream for 3 out of 5 days? It's benefiting me. I wondered. Yeah, I've been working at home. You wait until we enforce you gotta be streaming at workflow policy, so we can check that you're at your desk. Yeah, okay, so Robin, if you're still on the stream, are you still doing your event sourcing stuff in PHP, or have you given up with the world of PHP? Because I know you did way more work at getting some automatic code generation than I did, and I sort of feel like I should spend a week or so getting command generation to work, because like a lot of this crap is boilerplate, isn't it? Like everything that's written there could have been automatically generated. Right. Okay. So just going to familiarise myself with the workflow. Oh, I basically moved to JavaScript. Are you using Redux and all that stuff then, or are you I don't know. I don't know enough to set a counter to Redux. Fair enough. So you've graduated then, I guess. I think you were still a student when we first met. Okay, so We're going to register a condition. Now, I'm just going to familiarise myself with how I did it here. So, new workflow trigger. Well, congratulations, Robin. Oh, God, there's so much delay with the chat loading. Oh. You know, Alex, we get on like house on fire then. So we're gonna say new workflow condition. Command get condition type, and then we'll get the metadata as well. That's all part of the condition. Was it really? That's awesome. I won't dare to pronounce his surname. Yeah, he does quite a lot of he does do the DDD Europe stuff, doesn't he? The workshops or whatever. Yeah. I've been looking at the oh no, I mean I've been talking with Sean quite a lot, so he's starting to do more coaching and workshops around event sourcing. So I was hoping to sort of possibly get involved with that a bit more. Been doing it far too long now. I should probably move on to new technology. Yeah, Sean McCall, yeah. Okay, so string condition type is fine, and then array metadata. I'll do. I won't bother putting guards in here. I'll do that after the stream. Ugh. However, I will write the serialization. They used to be in collaboration. I don't think they're in collaboration anymore. It's probably one for private message. Okay, so the type is just the condition type, and the meta. I kind of finding event sourcing to be one of those things that when it is in production, it has loads of benefits, but then when you come across it like a negative, it really it really stings you. And then when you're in the opposite condition where you're dealing with code that isn't event sourced, and you have a condition in production, and you're like, oh, if this was event sourced, it'd be so much easier to fix. I'd say we're having issues with event sourcing in production when clients' workflows can radically change and involves completely rewriting of domains, or massive event stores. Yeah, if your events are wrong, nightmare. Yeah, we're getting absolutely massive event stores with terabytes of data, and doing a reproject is painful. And then we still sometimes suffer the issue when you fire an event into the bus, it taking just a little bit too long for it to actually project. However, with advancements in the front end, and Alex, who I work with, who's in the stream as well, taking charge of the front end, I think we're going to get rid of that last issue of eventual consistency. Well, I hope so. Yeah, eventual consistency, yes. It's a bit. on the face of it, you can say, oh, it doesn't really matter, but then when you've got a client who saves a form and it doesn't update, they get really annoyed. Especially when you got like, maybe you got queue processors and for some reason you've just absolutely backed them up. Like you've got some report that's hammering the database. You got no capacity left for writing these really crucial domain events to projections. Anyway, so I'm just divulging here. Okay, so we now know this workflow condition is fine, and then we got some step IDs to deal with. So I think we gave it 2 step IDs, didn't we? So we've got the previous. We need to know the previous step. My cat's just going to yowl at me. Okay, so we register the trigger, that's fine. We register the action, we define the previous and then the step ID. So we'll just copy that. So we'll get the previous step ID and then we'll get the success step ID and the failure step ID. Is that everything? Yeah, okay, so we can now just go ahead and create this. Add the method. I wish it was better at doing this. Yeah, condition's fine, and then we'll just do previous step where we need to do a little bit of validation, which I can copy from here. We could probably guard that. What do you use to format your PHP so nicely? I'm just using I just use the inbuilt PHP Storm code styling. Command Alt L or something, and it fixes it. Success, failure. I've just got in my head to tap it like every 10 seconds. Yeah, so it's pretty bad when you go to someone else's code and they for some reason they come up with a slightly different style, and you do that, and it basically reformats the whole file. And you're like, oh, I can't really commit that to version control. I was only making one line change, and I've changed everything. Okay, so like that, because the string was too long, it's now fixed it. But I did it too late. Okay. That means the validate previous steps thing is gonna break, because I guess it won't break. We'll just have to register 2 steps to the same action. That's fine. Okay, yeah, it should work. We'll have to write a test to break it and then prove it, but I think we could just apply this at this stage. So let's just copy this one. So workflow condition. I haven't projected any of these the actions and the conditions yet, but okay. So we've got the workflow, we've got the previous step, we need the success step, and we need the failure step, and then that should be good. So we can create this class, we'll put it in the events folder, we'll fix the bloody. So this implements an event and a serializable object. So I'll add it to a workflow. Date, time, and then this will just again be registered at. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been you must have seen it. It's been the same thing for bloody ages. Registered at. I remember that you had in a library and you managed to get this serialization to work a lot better than I have. I'm still after all this time running it by bloody hand. thought at the time, it won't cost too much time to write it by hand. And it's still... I think you built better metadata into your events, if I remember correctly. That I switched to... You switched to manual as well? Oh. I guess in some ways it's similar to a race condition. But the difference is you don't really get the race conditions in event sourcing. Like the problem doesn't happen. So how to explain it? So let's say a user changes their billing address and they click save. That then goes to the aggregate, generates the event. Now the actual aggregate doesn't really suffer race conditions, because when you load the aggregate, you get back the version ID from the system, which is the basically how many events have been applied. So if me and you made the same request and both our aggregates loaded event up to version 5, and then we tried to save version 6 or event number 6, one of them would get saved, the other one would receive an error back from the event store saying that there's a duplicate key, and it would roll back that change and it wouldn't apply the event, so it wouldn't project that. And then let's say you go to change it again and there's a guard in there to make sure you can't change it. So you can't have 2 events happen at the same time on the aggregate. Oh, okay. Out of sync request, right? You can get out of sync event handling. So let's say someone updates their address, they update it again, they both go to the events, they both go through the event still absolutely fine. They go to project and for some reason one of them gets queued up before the other one. Then yes, you could end up with an issue where the events get applied in the wrong order. And that is an issue that can happen. One of the classics ones is Amazon SQS. They added it, but it's not in all data centers. But they don't have first in, first out by default. So you can end up with applying your events in the wrong order. So choose a event handler that has first in, first out, and then what I'm trying to do, and then also try and mitigate that risk. You know, a sensible interface for these things is a good solution to a lot of these issues. And for example, where we were talking about WebSockets, you could basically lock out a form if it's crucial. Yeah, there you go, yeah. So you could almost lock the form until it was saved if it was really crucial to the domain. A lot of these things, it really depends on you can almost give it like an importance for how likely is it to happen, how important is it if it breaks. Okay, so I'm getting distracted here talking about. Well, I'm glad you went back to manual serialization, not because it's not the dream, but because I didn't invest any time. I haven't invested any time into it. Okay, so I think everything else is just going to be data, previous step. Success, failure, and then date time. The reason I kept it was because if you move classes around and you've decided to use that as your magic resolver, you've then got to start putting class aliases in. So if you decide to move your value objects for whatever reason, unless you then code in a whole load of mapping to say that when you want a workflow ID, this is the class you need to go and use. And I don't want to put that all in the metadata of the event because it'll make the event bloody huge. Having to say, well, this is an event ID and it's this. Go to this mapping. Yeah. And it just massively slow down the serialization. But I'm curious to know your reasoning. Okay, so that's that. Yeah. Okay, so let's import these classes, and then we'll import the test case. This is the thing I love most about the event sourcing stuff. It's so easy to bloody test. Register workflow condition. Once I've done this, I just got to do some cases in the workflows to make sure that the steps make sense, and you do eventually get to an end state when you publish. So I need a publish method, and then fix that workflow, do some JavaScript on the front end, and I think I'm good to be able to then take an existing workflow and say, right, push it into production and start executing it. Yeah, reflections, yeah. PHP reflections. Oh, yeah, that's the issue, isn't it? You've got to make all the protected stuff public. Oh god, yeah, that's horrible. There's a really dirty way of doing it without reflection, isn't there? Where you load you get a class, you add a public attribute to it, which is a closure function that can then read the class from within the class. But that's just, which I think is slightly quicker, but just really bloody dirty, isn't it? It's like just because you can. Okay, does this run? No. Okay, must be type string null called. Where's this? Oh. Get previous step. Okay, I forgot to register that the previous step is optional, which means I've got to go through and change a bit of code everywhere now. So that's fine. I need to import this. I also need to specify that this is conditional. I should have given the... Maybe I'd change it because this is a real pain in the ass. So maybe I should have made the start of the workflow I should have made the start of the workflow its own integer, its own ID, and then I wouldn't have to deal with this crap. So it's null. It's just a bit of a pain having a null type poisoning your code everywhere. Every time I do a previous check now, I've got to... That is an error I have not seen. This thing. I've not seen that in bloody ages. I would love to know how you pronounce this. I'm not even going to give an attempt. No. Oh god, what's gone on here? Event not... Oh, I've got really sloppy here, haven't I? Hooray! Okay, test pass. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look at how Robin used to do tests. Let's have a look at yours. Because it always... Ah, yeah. I used to do this, and I used to have a class per case, but it became such a pain to say. So you pull your conditions here, but then you'd change something about your command to cause like an exception or like a different number of events to generate, and it became a real pain to test. So I came up with. It became a pain because you'd have to write duplicate code basically. So I came up with this thing where you can create. I could basically just copy and paste this into another test, and say invalid condition, whatever. And then we can say check that 0 events get raised, and we can also say check that an exception was thrown, and then in here have workflow condition not unknown or something. Okay, the test result class. It's really empty. We pass in just the PHP unit stuff so we can run easy. Just so I can do some checking. So every time it runs a test and there was an event generated, I test the serializer to make sure it serializes and unserialized successfully. Just because you have to do that every time you generate an event anyway. And then I've got a couple just for checking the event counts. But it's not really that much to it. It all happens in the main test case, which is a bit of a dirty object. Subject repository, so when you register the command, then when you say given, it checks to make sure that the aggregate route's correct. It initializes the event stream based on the events that you gave previously. It mocks the repository, and it mocks the method load, which returns back the test automatically building the class with the events. We also test that the save works with the callback, and we use the save callback to get the subject back out of the repository to do tests. Yep. And then this was. We used to have something where we could save without checking the playhead, but that's not actually necessary. I've copied that for the wrong reason. The handler, when you fire off the handler, it catches domain and invalid arguments, which are domain related events. The setup, we just use an in-memory event store. Playhead equals version. Where am I saying that? Is it just based on what I'm talking about? What? Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. Playhead is the event, the version of that aggregate. Yeah. So 3 events applied to an aggregate is playhead 3. Yeah. Or version 3. And then this is what the then does. It just gets all the uncommitted events. Yeah, because I guess they haven't been stored. And then loads up the test results in the callback. Yeah. And returns this for some reason. I probably copied this from someone else, didn't I? So we can now test this. So we'll make this. If I run this test now, we're going to see something like that. Okay, that shouldn't have. Oh, okay. Why did that pass? Did I run that correctly? I cannot be running that correctly. I don't believe it. I didn't add test. Twat. Right, okay. That's going to fail. It's still generated an event, and we got that unconditional handler. So we'll go to the handler in here. We will say new workflow condition, and we'll add a guard. So so we could just say if this. If. What's the best way of doing this? My mind's drawn a blank. is set config workflows dot conditions. And then we'll just pass in the condition name. And then we'll say throw new, and then we'll just, where have I been putting the exceptions for this? So exceptions, okay, so I'll relish that. We'll get this test to pass and then I'll call it a day. And check my phone. Okay, so let's go to the exceptions and we'll just throw that one saying workflow condition unknown. I'm gonna have to go through and tidy these, and then we'll extends the invalid argument. That's what gets caught by the tests. I still use MySQL for the event store. Yeah. Why did that not fail? Oh, okay, so I forgot to rename it. Unknown condition. Okay. Okay, huzzah. Okay, so we're now running this test with unknown condition. We expect to see this exception, so it works. I'm glad. It's like the foundation of my professional career. And I'm gonna call it a day. Maybe I might be able to stream Monday lunchtime, or maybe sometime over the weekend. I don't know, but I also want to get up early because the Formula 1 starts at like 5 in the morning. So thanks for everyone who came to join me. Alex, we'll have to have a catch up at some. Not Alex, sorry. Robin, we'll have to have a catch up at some point. Yeah. So I'm tuning out now. Catch you guys later.